We welcome everyone for the Bhagavatam Life Lessons class. Three of our friends have joined online also, Gopi, Saili and Vaishnavi. And I hope I'm audible. Okay. So we'll begin with prayers. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanashalakhaya चक्षुरुन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमो विष्णुपादाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिनिति नामिने। नमस्ते सरस्वती देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेष शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवास आदि गौर भक्त वृंद। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे। सर्वशास्त्रार्थ पीयूष सर्ववैदिक सत्फल सर्वसिद्धांत रत्नाढ्य सर्वलोकैक दिक्पद सर्वभागवत प्राण श्रीमद्भागवतं प्रभु कलिध्वान्तोदितादिता श्रीकृष्ण परिवर्तिता परमानंद पाठाय प्रेम वर्षि अक्षराय ते सर्वदा सर्वसेव्याय श्रीकृष्णाय नमोस्तुते। असाधु साधु दादाई नतिनीचो च तक्कर हानामुंच कदाचिन्मान् प्रेम्णा कंठयो स्फुरा। मदेक बंधु मत्संगी मद्गुरो मन्महाधन मद्निस्तारक मद्भाग्य मदानंद नमोस्तुते। श्रीमद् भागवत महापुराण की जय। सर्व वेदांत सारम ही श्रीमद् भागवतम इष्यते। So Srimad Bhagavatam's glorification is mentioned. Sarva Vedanta Saramhi Srimad Bhagavatam Ishyate. So all the Vedas is such a vast body of knowledge. And the sar, the essence of all of the Vedic literature, Vedic knowledge is Srimad Bhagavatam. Now there are many subjects which are intriguing and interesting. So, like for some people, it's a fascination to know about cosmology. कि हमेशा एक मन में मेरे माइंड में एक है कि कभी तो मैं अच्छे से ये सब कॉन्स्टलेशंस को कॉस्मोलॉजी को स्टडी करूंगा, और वो कार पार्क में रखा है. I don't know when the car will come out of the park. So each one of us has certain topics which we want to explore, and those topics are in the car park. And the problem is that the vastness of these topics is so overwhelming that you many times feel where to begin and where to end. Right? Although you have fascination, you have what do you say? You have a crush for that topic, subject, to know about that, but it just doesn't happen. You don't get the time or direction. है आपके लोगों के जीवन में कुछ ऐसा कुछ फैसिनेटिंग टॉपिक है जो आप एक्सप्लोर या स्टडी करना चाहते हो?
It might be anything on
spiritual भी चल होगा, या anything.
If it is not spiritual,
हाँ वो भी बताओ ना.
entrepreneurship
के बारे में आप जानना चाहते हो? नाइस, अच्छी बात है, जानना चाहिए आगे आपको लाइफ में कुछ एंटरप्राइज करना है तो अच्छा चीज है. गुड. सो चलो मैं सबसे ले लेता हूँ. आपके क्या जानना चाहते हो लॉ के अलावा? फाइनेंस के बारे में जानना चाहते हो, बीइंग अ लॉयर. ये जस्ट आपका हॉबी. Vaishnavi?
Physics.
Physics. अरे जेई के लिए रगड़ा नहीं था क्या इन्होंने?
Means
Astro, astrophysics. अभी आपका ब्रांच केमिस्ट्री, केमिकल इंजीनियरिंग, या केमिकल इंजीनियरिंग, केमिकल छोड़ के फिजिक्स, ठीक है. यस, क्यों ना. कुछ नहीं है, हाँ, सब कुछ जान गए. यार, यू नो, ऐसे भी स्कूल में बहुत पढ़ाते ही हैं, और क्या. गुड. So yes, afterlife. Afterlife. What happens after life? That's interesting. Yeah, one boy who came for the first class, क्या नाम है उसका? Manav Jain. He said he wants to know about death and what happens after that. Hari Bol. Welcome, Subhadra. Take a seat.
sorry for
No problem. You can sit. Sorry, Subhadra is coming all the way from Navi Mumbai. Thank you for joining. So, Subhadra, we are discussing any topic which you have interest to learn, but मतलब ऐसा एक you have hobby and fascination कि ऐसा कुछ सीखना चाहते हैं, और लेकिन वो कितना बड़ा टॉपिक है, कहाँ से शुरू करें कहाँ खत्म करें पता नहीं लगता. So, Sai is saying he wants to learn about entrepreneurship, or Sripati Prabhu is saying finance. Vaishnavi sitting next to you, she wants to learn about physics. She is chemical engineering from IIT Bombay. Then Kiona is still looking for a topic which will fascinate her. And Tanay wants to know about afterlife. Or Ayurveda. इतना fascinating topics है ना. Everyone would want to know about something which you can give you health, good health. That, I also vote for that. Yes, others too.
I want to know a lot about psychology and philosophy.
Psychology, मतलब एक भी पूरा नहीं पढ़ रहा है इनको दो. Yeah, these are interesting things, right? And there are volumes and volumes of books written about these topics. And I'm sure those online also have many such topics. So volumes of books written on these topics. But the thing is that apart from our schedule, where to get time? And so now talking about the Vedas, it's a fascination for everyone, from Max Muller to Mahatma Gandhi. Right? Everyone is fascinated by the vast body of knowledge which has given the most evolved and refined grammar to the world. The Sanskrit grammar. Sanskrit is the most refined language. If you look at the Sanskrit Varnamala. Welcome, Rahul. Please. आपके लिए बालकनी सीट रखा. Front seat. So, the Varnamala, it is so scientifically arranged. A, E, E, U, U, right? Ta, tha, da, dha, na. Pa, fa, ba, bha, ma. So, the way this is arranged, it starts here. It comes up. E, U, A, I, O. So, it's arranged in such a way that the various voice which the human throat can produce, they have been mapped in terms of where they originate from and their, I think, the pitch and everything. So, उस हिसाब से I, E is one bracket. Ta, tha, da, da, na, ka, kha, ga, ga. So, it all ka, kha, ga, gha. So, it starts here and comes up. Yeah. So, that shows that how profound even just the basic alphabets are. And then Vyakaran, Nirukti, Nyaya, all of these are the Ved Angas, like they are needed to learn the Vedas. And then the Vedic literature has, the four Vedas, Upanishads, Puranas, all of these things are there, Itihasas. And it's impossible to learn all of them in one lifetime or in several lifetimes.
It is also that, no, प्रभु की जो पाणिनि है and one another पाणिनि व्याकरण जो उसको पढ़ लेता है he gets moksha.
या अभी कैसे पढ़ लेता है उसके ऊपर
भक्ति सिद्धांत साई ठाकुर का स्टोरी आता है ना, he just studied everything in I think 2 months.
It has, I think, 4,000 sutras. You have to memorize all the 4,000 to be able to begin to understand Sanskrit. It's tall order. तो मोक्ष के लिए जप कर लो, अच्छा है.
What I meant by saying this is even it's like so deep and so refined. Just by learning Vyakaran, you will achieve such a great thing.
So it's fascinating, all of this. But it's not possible to, even जैसे हमारा, astrophysics या फिर अलग-अलग subjects हमारे लिए आयुर्वेदा ये सब just fascination ही रह जाते हैं lifelong. वैसे ही वेदास भी fascination नहीं रहते हैं. But then we have got Srimad Bhagavatam, which gives us entrance, which gives us the essence of it. Right? If you understand even one shloka of the Bhagavatam, you have understood the Vedas. That's the power of the Srimad Bhagavatam, the book which we are studying. So if you feel that you can never study, don't have time for the Vedas, don't worry. Attend this class, you will get to know. Okay, that's the power of the Srimad Bhagavatam. Just a quick recap of what we discussed in the previous session. So we are reading from the 4th canto, 2nd chapter. So we are taking the section from the 2nd to the 7th chapter, where the episode of Daksha's enmity with Lord Shiva is discussed. And the chapter begins with Vidura asking Maitreya, Kastam Characharam Guru Nirvera Shanta Vigraham Atmanam Katham Dveshti. How is it that Daksha is holding animosity with Lord Shiva? Lord Shiva is Guru of everyone. Nirvairam, he doesn't consider anyone as enemy. Shant आदमी से क्या पंगा ले रहे हैं? He is very peaceful. He is just अपना भजन कर रहे हैं. What is the point going and taking up a quarrel with him, picking a quarrel? And then he's saying that I had heard that Daksha's pet daughter was Sati. Out of his 16 daughters, his most dear daughter is Sati. How can he become so inimical to his son-in-law, the husband of Sati, who is dear to Sati? So these are all perplexing situations, and we discussed that how this is not uncommon. There are a lot of perplexing situations in the world because this world is different from what it appears to be, because it is Maya Jagat, that which is not the way it appears. We discussed the Coca-Cola advertisement, left to right, that will remain a secret for those who didn't get it. Yeah. So, yeah, the perplexing situations are because of the nature of this world. The body itself, we consider this body is me, right? And as long as you are young and energetic, you'll be happy thinking you are the body. But then when it starts giving you aches and pains and teething troubles, then you feel, yeah, ये बड़ी समस्या है. Right? So your body nahi hai, both hai. So then we discussed that, okay, what happened? Maitreya Muni says, I will tell you the whole story of how this entire imbroglio or this entire quarrel happened. He says, once upon a time, Daksha Prajapati, who is leader of all the Prajapatis. Prajapatis are appointed by Lord Brahma to progenate the universe, to create living beings. And among these Prajapatis, the head is Daksha. So Daksha organizes a sacrifice, a yajna, for universal well-being, and all the devas, who's who of the universe, right? All the celebrities are there, all the influencers are there in that assembly, and from the prime minister of the universe, means I mean to say Brahmaji. Brahmaji is there, Lord Shiva is there, the fire gods are there, Indra is there, Chandra is there, Varuna is there, everyone is there. But each one of these gods is effulgent, is very charismatic. But then when Daksha enters the assembly, there is such an effulgence, there is such a um, charisma around him that everyone spontaneously rises from their seat, seeing, oh, wow, who is going, right? जैसे दिखाते हैं एडवर्टाइजमेंट्स में कि वो बाइक पे गया तो सब तीन नजरें घूम गई. So
we are reading chapter no?
Second chapter,
Canto
4. And so we discussed that how the glitter and glamour of this world is a way by which people want to create a space for their ego. जैसे सब लोग, everyone is clamoring for space. मुंबई में मतलब चाहे वो लोढ़ा हो, चाहे पिरामल हो, सब अपना बिल्डिंग है ना, चाहे अडानी हो, चलो अभी बना लो अपना, कहाँ पे, धारावी को. So everyone wants the space, real estate. So on the social scene, ego के बड़े बड़े बिल्डिंग बनाने के लिए लोग real estate, they want to capture, they want to capture the market by doing something very extraordinary, something very, even strange. कुछ ना कुछ करके अपना ego का बिल्डिंग खड़ा करना है ताकि सब देखें, like that. So
was Krishna there in the fire sacrifice?
Questions later. No. So we are just revising. And then, when Daksha entered, everyone stood up, but one person didn't. That is, two people didn't. One is Brahmaji and one is Lord Shiva. So Brahmaji is his father, so Pitaji ko to chhod do yaar. But Shiva, Lord Shiva, who is his son-in-law, in terms of material relationship, he didn't rise. But this one person not standing was a pinch on the ego of Daksha. He could not take it. Because we discussed that ego is something which wants everything, but is satisfied with nothing. So that's the nature of the ego. And so Daksha, that pinch is enough to agitate and infuriate Daksha. So now अभी ये सब यज्ञ के लिए सब इकट्ठे हुए हैं, इतना यूनिवर्सल वेलबींग के लिए इतना बड़ा ऑर्गेनाइजेशन किया, सोचो कितना बड़ा पंडाल लगाया होगा. So many facilities, means suppose if there is a marriage, so in the house, तो कितना planning लगता है. All the family members are busy printing cards, sending invitations, from getting the priests, the right muhurat, then planning all the events, hotel booking, room booking, transportation, logistics. So much is done, right, for the small event of a marriage. Now this is a yajna for universal well-being. सोचो कितना endeavor लगा होगा, किसको बुला रहे हैं? हाँ, यहाँ पे बियॉन्सी वगैरह को नहीं बुला रहे. हाँ, बुला रहे हैं देवतास को बुला रहे हैं. उनके लिए क्या अकोमोडेशन, 5 स्टार अकोमोडेशन लगेगा, राइट, चार्टर्ड विमान लगेंगे, पुष्पक विमान. सो इतना सब अरेंजमेंट किया है किसके लिए? कोई तो बहुत सॉलिड पर्पस है ना, और यूनिवर्सल वेलबींग एक यज्ञ करने वाले. बट एक ईगो को पिन लग गई ना, तो वो सारा पर्पस वहीं का कहीं रह गया. एंड नाउ दक्षा का मतलब ये यज्ञ गया इधर, मेरे लिए खड़ा क्यों नहीं है तू? That occupied his entire mind space because he made a prestige issue out of someone not standing. Hmm? So the ego stole the attention which was meant for the yajna. All the attention and everyone's planning was meant for the yajna of universal well-being. But the ego of Daksha, it stole the attention. कि भाई, नहीं चलेगा. And many times it happens with us also. We start something, बहुत उसमें मेहनत करते हैं, प्लानिंग करते हैं, and then कुछ ईगो को हो गया तो अब किसी ने कुछ बोल दिया, जाओ मुझे नहीं करना है, हाँ, हट हट कर लेते हैं, and then just for a small thing the whole effort and endeavor gets wasted. किसी की लाइफ में हुआ ऐसा या किसी ने देखा है किसी को ऐसे? Yes, right.
Many incidences.
अरे some example.
So basically, we were into a venture. So there were two people. So one was a subordinate and second one was senior. So what happened? One day the senior got too lazy and he was not doing his work properly, not researching on the things. So his junior, he completed that task and in front of our team, he presented that I have this. And after which the meeting ended, the senior came and he punched that person with his words. Can't you inform me this and that and this? And this whole thing happened and he left the company.
Oh, Italian. So इतना मेहनत करके एंटरप्राइज किया, क्या लोन वोन लिया होगा, क्या क्या किया होगा, बट then just मेरे से अच्छा प्रेजेंटेशन कैसे दे दिया, just for that small thing, and the bigger purpose goes to the drain. तो सोचो अगर if we work on subduing our ego, we could make the world and our lives so much of a better place, isn't it? No one teaches this. Right? We will be taught IT skills, computer skills, finance skills, but no one is taught how to deal with the ego, our own ego and ego of others. That's what Bhagavatam is giving us. Once husband and wife, they were quarreling bitterly. Then finally, the matter reached the court beyond divorce. And the judge said, so what is the issue with both of you? The man said, sir, there are many issues, but the main thing is that I want our son to become a space scientist. And she said, no, our son will become a fashion designer. So the husband said, never, my son will only become a space scientist. Will make the nation proud by sending Suryayaan. And the judge was saying, wait, order. बेटे से पूछा किसी ने, बेटे को हाजिर किया जाए. Then the lady said, रुकिए सर, अभी पैदा नहीं हुआ है वो. तो जो पैदा होगा उसके बाद के लिए हम लोग झगड़ रहे हैं. So we want divorce. Ego issue. Right? So now इस केस में तो बच्चा पैदा नहीं हुआ था. बच्चे होते हैं और पेरेंट्स भी ऐसी छोटी बातों के लिए लड़ते हैं, तो the child goes out on the corner, prestige issue बन जाता है and the child suffers. Right? So this is not something theoretical. Oh, thousands of years ago, Daksha was fighting Shiva. No, this is for our life. The main thing becomes secondary, and the very puny, little insignificant things take the prime space because of this ego struggles. Another example, in Samudra Manthan, जब देवता दानव असुर सब आ गए और चर्निंग करने का समय आया, तो वासुकी was coiled around the Mandar Parvat and then tug of war जैसे churning करना है. One party has to pull from the head, another party has to pull from the tail. So the Lord Vishnu who is orchestrating the whole thing, he said, the Devatas, you can hold the head, and the Asuras, you can hold the tail. Tail, हमें क्या पूछ समझ रखा है क्या? हम पूछ रहेंगे, हाँ? हमें सर चाहिए. So we are Asuras. We have conquered these Devatas. These are very, very weaklings. So we want the head. Ego issue. भगवान ले लो भैया, प्रॉब्लम क्या है? देवता कोई प्रॉब्लम है टेल पकड़ने में? कोई नहीं है भगवान, आप जो बोलो. वी आर सरेंडर्ड, वी विल होल्ड इट टेल. असुरों ने पकड़ लिया सर. फिर क्या हुआ? वास्तव में सर पकड़ लिया. The serpent Vasuki was being pulled, and like that all the acid and all the smoke which was inside his belly, the poisonous smoke, it started oozing out from his mouth. And who is holding the mouth? The Asuras. अभी ईगो इशू की तरफ वजह से बोल भी नहीं सकते कि नहीं अरे हमें अभी पूछ दे दो. अपने पूछ कैसे बोले? हमने लिया है, कोई बात नहीं, झेलेंगे. Right? So this is what happens when I, the one letter word I, becomes more important than the mission, the purpose. Okay, so let's see further. Now, this has completely, the mission has completely been eclipsed. The moon, the mission moon, has been completely eclipsed by the Rahu of ego. So what does that do now? So now Daksha, he starts giving a sermon. He says, Suno, suno, suno. Shruyatam Brahma Rishayo me Sahadeva Sahagnaya Sadhunam Bruvatu Vrittam Na Janan Na Chamatsarat. Shruyatam, suno. कौन सुनो? ब्रह्म ऋषि, देवता गण, अग्निदेव इत्यादि सब सुनिए. मैं अब जो भी बोलने जा रहा हूं उसमें ईर्ष्या या द्वेष का एक लेश रंच मात्र भी कोई भाव नहीं है. मैं जो कुछ भी बोलने वाला हूं वो हम सबके इधर बेनिफिट के लिए. आई एम स्पीकिंग फॉर मेंटेनिंग द कोड ऑफ कंडक्ट ऑफ civilized beings. So, is it true? Was he not at all speaking out of any envy or animosity or anger? No, to the contrary, he was boiling from within for this one incident. But what he says, how does he package his inner resentment and anger? He's saying that I want to establish and uphold the civil conduct of our meeting. And therefore, it's not out of ignorance or envy that I am going to speak. I want to maintain the gentle manners of this assembly. So many times, this kind of thing happens when you want to let your lower nature out, your envy, anger, etc. But you want to package in such a way that your image is not destroyed. So that's what Daksha is doing. And diplomacy, and to an extent of diplomacy, क्या है? You are trying to cheat others, है ना? थोड़ा सा सच को थोड़ा टेढ़ा करके, या फिर whatever way. But diplomacy, when it is done so frequently, then it becomes self-deception. When you become so habituated to cheating others that you start cheating yourself also. That what you are trying to convince others, you convince yourself also. Now he knows internally कि भाई मेरे को ईर्ष्या हो रहा है, मुझे गुस्सा आ रहा है. So I am envious. So therefore I am going to speak harshly about Lord Shiva. But he has convinced himself that I am speaking out of good intention. Right? So So जब Surpanakha ना, and Surpanakha approached Lord Ram, seeing his valor and beauty, that I want him as my, lover. So Lord Ram said, look, I am already married and I am ek patni vrata. Lakshman is alone. Maybe you can try your luck. So Lakshman said, oh, I am just a kept servant. You go and approach Lord Ram only. So like this, they keep shuffling. And then she realizes that it is this Sita who is the obstacle. So she runs to, attack her. And then Lakshman deftly cuts away her nose at Nasik and does the first, plastic surgery.
Probably Lakshmana was married. No?
Lakshman was married, but his wife was in Ayodhya. So, of course, he also won't marry her or anyone. But the thing is that she was so lusty that वो बोले कि राम बोले लक्ष्मण, तो बोले ठीक है लक्ष्मण के पास जाती हूँ. लक्ष्मण बोले नहीं राम, तो राम के पास. So she was like so क्या बोलते हैं promiscuous की like that. So then ऐसा हो गया, उसका नाक कट गया. तो गई, अभी सोचा कि अभी रावण के पास जाती हूँ. And she had some animosity with Ravan also. So she wanted to incite him. So she said, भैया रावण, आपसे ज्यादा तेजस्वी, आपसे ज्यादा प्रतापी कोई राजा विश्व में नहीं है. और अगर कोई स्त्री आपके लिए लायक है तो वो सीता है. And then she keeps describing the qualities of Sita, and मैं सीता का हाथ मांगने के लिए गई थी. I went approached to get Sita for you, but look, this is what that Ram did to me. So you deserve to marry Sita, and she describes her beauty in such a way. He's also like her lusty fellow only. So he jumps on the idea and does whatever he does. But the thing is that this is how she packages. What is her intention? Intention inside is to somehow other get to enjoy with Ram, right? Intention is to separate Ram from Sita. But what she's telling, मैं तो तुम्हारा हाथ ले रहा है, अरे क्या कुछ भी. But this is how duplicitous and diplomatic people do. So similarly, Daksha is also doing something like this. और उसके बाद जो ये करने लगते हैं, बाप रे, वो तो पूछो ही मत. What kind of words he uses against Lord Shiva, who is, the word Shiva means who is all auspicious, who creates auspiciously. But he uses all inauspicious words for him. And Krishna in the Bhagavad Gita, he says that Anudveda karam vakyam satyam priyam hitam chayat swadhyaya vyasanam chaiva vangmaya tapo uchyate. That there's a lot of pollution in the world around us. Air pollution, water pollution, so many different types of pollution is there. But Krishna is saying, but the most deadly pollution is speech pollution. Speech pollution is about the kind of words that people speak. Harsh, cruel, untruthful words, which hurt others. It is said that arrows which pierce the heart, they are definitely very, hurtful. But then more hurtful than the arrows which pierce the heart are the words, the sharp words which pierce the heart. And so Krishna is saying that words, they can create the maximum pollution. So he says that you, just as हम लगाते ना भारत 5, भारत 6 filter. अभी कौन सा चल रहा है? BS6, भारत 6. So similarly in our speech we should put 3 filters. Satya, Priya, Hita. Whatever I am going to speak, is it truthful? ये सच है क्या? नहीं है तो चुप रहें. There's no need to speak. Okay, it's truth. Okay, इससे दूसरे सामने वाले व्यक्ति का भला होगा? नहीं सच तो है लेकिन उससे उसका कुछ भला होने वाला नहीं है, तो चुप रहो, देयर नो पॉइंट। अच्छा उसका भला होगा, लेकिन तुम जो बोल रहे हो उसको प्रिय लगेगा या नहीं, उसको बुरा लगेगा, उसको बुरा लगेगा, तो मत बोलो, या इस तरीके से बोलो कि उसको समझ में आए, डाइजेस्ट हो, प्रिय तरीके से बोलो। तो whenever we are going to speak, we should have these three filters. Whatever I am speaking, is it truthful, सच है क्या, is it beneficial, हितकारी है क्या, is it प्रियकारी यानी is it pleasing, and then we should speak. Whereas here Daksha, what he is going to speak is untruthful, non-beneficial, and disturbing, not pleasing. So what he says, let's read how he starts. He doesn't start with Shiva because it's complete diplomacy and duplicity personified. So he doesn't start counting the faults of Lord Shiva. He says, आपका नुकसान है, इस शिवा को वोट दिया तो इसमें आपका नुकसान है. So he's getting people, and everyone is self-interested. तुम शिव लॉर्ड शिवा के बारे में 100 चीज बोलो, हमको क्या लेना देना. But then he began with that if you side with Lord Shiva, you are at loss. So he begins. This Shiva has spoiled the name and fame of the governors of the universe and has polluted the path of gentle manners. He is shameless and he does not know how to act. So he has spoiled the name and fame of all of us. If you associate with Shiva, your name and fame will be spoiled away. Because what does he say? He says, he lives in filthy places like crematoriums. Shamsan Ghat mein rehte hain. And his ghosts and his companions are ghosts and demons. Naked like a madman, sometimes laughing and sometimes crying. He smears crematorium ashes all over his body. He does not bathe regularly. And he ornaments his body with a garland of skulls and bones. Therefore, in name only he is Shiva, or auspicious. Actually, he is the most mad and inauspicious creature. Thus, he is very dear to crazy beings in the gross mode of ignorance, and he is their leader. सोचो कितना venom भरा है. Now how did he begin his speech? I am going to speak about the manners of gentle people. Is it? He lives in filthy places like crematorium. He wears this skull. He doesn't he doesn't know how to keep clean. All of these things he's saying. And then he says, he has eyes like a monkey. It is getting more acidic. Yet he has married my daughter whose eyes are just like that of a deer's cub. Nevertheless, he did not stand up to receive me, nor did he think it fit to welcome me with sweet words. Problem इधर है. मेरे ईगो को satisfy नहीं किया, तो इसके लिए इसकी आंखें बंदर की आंखों जैसी. Racist remarks. Racist slur.
कैंसिल
क्या?
कैंसिल उसको
कैंसिल कर रहे लॉर्ड शिवा को. And he says, now he has accepted me as his father-in-law. And father-in-law matlab he has a subordinate. He has accepted himself to be a subordinate by marrying my daughter in presence of fire and brahmanas. सबको साक्षी रखते हुए इसने मुझे अपना superior accept किया है. And he has married my daughter who is like Gayatri, and now is not respecting me. Are these the manners of an honest person? जब बेटी चाहिए थी तब मेरे को रेस्पेक्ट कर दिया, हाँ, और मेरे को सुपीरियर चरण तो छुए होंगे ना ससुर के, उस समय से सर चरण छुए, अभी खड़ा भी नहीं होते. So he is a duplicitous, dishonest person, right? So he's trying to prove somehow or the other that all of you cancel him out. लॉर्ड शिवा के कॉन्सर्ट में मत जाओ. So doesn't end here. I had no desire to give my daughter to this person who has broken all rules of civility. Because of not observing the required rules and regulations, he is impure, but I was obliged to hand over my daughter to him because of the request of my father Brahma. I had to hand over my daughter to him. Although he is devoid of all cleanliness and his heart is filled with nasty things, character assassination. अभी तक तो okay, his eyes are like a monkey, he doesn't bathe, he smears his body with ashes, he wears a garland of skulls. ये सब तो चलो external था. His heart is full of nasty things, character assassination, right? So from racist remarks to character assassination, everything he has done, and done lobbying also. If you side with him, your name and fame will be at stake. तो पूरा अच्छा गेम खेला है. जितना वो ये रहता ना कहानी घर घर की सास भी कभी बहू थी, वो सब में जितने पैंतरे दिखाते हैं सब यूज किया. एंड डोंट थिंक दैट ऑल ऑफ दिस ठीक है, ऐसे लोग होते हैं ना, 1 से 1 मिलियन ऐसे लोग होते हैं. ऐसा है क्या पॉलिटिक्स करने वाले लोग?
Everyone has Daksha inside him.
Oh my God. Adarsh doesn't have. Adarsh is Adarsh person. है क्या? Okay. ठीक. So no, everyone has tendency, but this is happening all around us in today's age. If you look at the social media scene, what are the influencers doing? Expose वीडियो निकालते हैं. देखिए मैं इसको एक्सपोज कर दिया, एक दूसरे इन्फ्लुएंसर को एक्सपोज करके खुद का पॉपुलैरिटी बढ़ाने के लिए समाज होता है. देखें आपने ऐसे वीडियोस कभी? नहीं देखे?
कोबरा पोस्ट.
हाँ,
कोबरा पोस्ट. कोबरा पोस्ट.
इसको कोबरा पोस्ट बोलते हैं.
नहीं, there's a group of people वो ऐसा जाके लिस्टिंग ऑपरेशन करते हैं.
हाँ.
Group of journalists.
Expose videos, कोबरा पोस्ट, रिएक्शन वीडियोस. सुनाते हैं. मैं आपको एक एक पॉइंट के साथ इसका रेफुटेशन देने वाला हूँ. रिएक्शन वीडियो की तूने मेरी फजीती की है, तूने मेरा ये किया है, मैं तुम्हारा करूँगा. राइट? दिस इज व्हाट हैपेंस एंड दिस इज व्हाट सेल्स. आप कुछ गीता का क्लास दो, कितने व्यूज? 11 व्यूज. ऐसा कोई वीडियो ना 11 मिलियन व्यूज. Right? Because if someone is attracted to this content, such content of defamation, of scandal, of controversy, it doesn't reveal about the person who is being exposed. It reveals about the person who is attracted to such content. It reveals more about us than the person being exposed. अगर आपके YouTube में फीड में ऐसा कुछ आता है और आप यार देखो यार क्या ये प्रभु जी का भी कुछ निकला क्या, तो ये बाबा का भी कुछ निकला क्या. So if we are eager to see such things or know about the faults and problems of others, then it should tell us alarm bells should ring for us to know that there is some problem in me, that I am attracted towards the faults of others. Because the honeybee, even in the midst of a garbage, it will find a good flower, a rose flower or a marigold, and go and suck the nectar and walk out or fly away. But a housefly, in a person who is wearing a flower of roses, it will go and find out some dirt hidden between the nail and go and try to pick that. So it doesn't tell us about the person who is being exposed. It tells us about the person who is interested in this content. Right? So therefore, this is something which we can think about, especially. And in Mahabharata, Bhishma Dev, he is telling Yudhishthir Maharaj, Shanti Parv में युधिष्ठिर महाराज को भीष्मदेव बहुत अच्छी अच्छी शिक्षाएं देते हैं. So one of these the things which Bhishmadev says, he talks about fault finding. So he says someone who does fault finding, is like a peacock. तो आप सोचोगे यार पीकॉक तो अच्छा मतलब तो हमारा राष्ट्रीय पक्षी है एंड पीकॉक पे तो कृष्णा लगाते हैं, तो पीकॉक में क्या प्रॉब्लम है? भीष्मदेव ने रुको बताता हूँ. When the peacock spreads its feathers, it looks beautiful, right? क्यों करता है वो? Find a mate. Opposite gender को impress करने के लिए करता है. That's it. Right? Find a mate. Of course, spiritual world के peacocks अलग है. They want to dance with Krishna. But we are talking about peacocks in this material world. So to find a mate, to impress the opposite gender and all of that. But Bhishmadev says, you know what? But when the peacock does like this, his private parts get exposed. So while he is trying to impress others, his own vulnerabilities are exposed. So he says when people try to find faults, they are trying to lay out their feathers colorful. देखो मैंने ये expose किया दूसरों के बारे में. But then it is exposing their very restricted mindset and mentality. Peacocks.
But if the exposition is of a good thing, then
Expose good about others?
yes, let's say there is an influencer food farmer. So he posted and exposed videos of Bonvita and all of this commercial companies. Those who post that they are the healthiest and they provide 50% sugar in their product. So they are claiming healthy, but they are not healthy. And if that person is exposing, then
Exposing अच्छा मतलब वो गलत यहाँ for the good of people. Yeah, so वो सत्यम प्रियम हितम है ना.
That's what आपने बोला ना कि more an intent matters.
इंटेंट भी है बट सत्यम प्रियम हितम. सत्य है, हित है क्या? चलो हित भी है. कैसे आप कर रहे हो? प्रिय तरीके से कर रहे हो कि just to slander and bring down someone's image. So what is the purpose? If your purpose is clear, intent is clear, so your method will also be correct. So yes, to speak the truth is not wrong, but it should not be that you speak the truth only when you have to criticize others. Right?
actually one of Prabhupada's conversations, I heard him say that he was talking with his disciples and they talk about this person who has written a book titled No Books and Egypt.
Acha. Wow.
So he says basically he's writing a book to tell people don't read books. So people want to expose others to gain all the popularity and
Sometimes the reason to expose others is so that I become popular.
but if he doesn't expose them, there might not be the appropriate steps which are taken by the companies. Like literally they were like advertising that they are the healthiest, but they are the vulnerable.
So, yes, so I'm not saying that each of these kind of videos are having this kind of a mentality, but most of them have, and there are many other ways by which you can do the influence. Right? If you keep on talking about ये healthy नहीं है, वो healthy नहीं है, तुम कुछ healthy बना रहे हो क्या? Right? Yeah, you're giving an alternative to the world. If not, then how are you adding? You are adding to the problem, not to the solution.
Exactly.
So we need to work. If someone is conscientious, they will try to find a solution rather than just criticize the problem. So, yeah, Satyam Priyam Hitam. That's what we should be trying to do. And then there are many other channels this is the last resort when you go out in public and say, कि इसमें ये fault है, उसमें fault है. Right? Because how many people will take you seriously? And like that.
And the Gita parallel to this story, like this part of the story, like is it Duryodhana, like when he goes to his teacher and then he glorifies him, and then he also glorifies Vikarna at the same time, although he's not a warrior and everything. So is it the pattern?
Yeah. So basically, trying to politically maneuver to get people on your side. Right? That's what politics is about. Divide the world into friends and enemies. दुश्मन का दुश्मन दोस्त. तेरी उससे दुश्मनी है, मेरी भी उससे दुश्मनी है. आजा मेरी पार्टी में. Right? So here, that's what Daksha is doing. He's trying to bhadkao all these devatas so that they join his party. So that he can, kind of socially ostracize Lord Shiva. So chalo, the last thing that we'll discuss for today, then we can take any questions or thoughts, is what does Daksha represent here in our situation, and what does Lord Shiva represent? Now, for me, Daksha represents modern materialistic education. And Lord Shiva represents spiritual culture and knowledge. Now, Lord Shiva, he's sitting in the crematorium, covering himself with ashes. Why? To develop detachment and to show to the world that this material world is temporary. Don't make your home on a bridge. You're supposed to cross the bridge. Right? So Lord Shiva is teaching the world detachment by doing what he's doing. That better use this life for dhyan and bhajan, because he's always meditating, applying those ashes to show, to remind us, not put all those fair and lovely or lowly, whatever creams. People apply that thinking that मैं सबसे हंसी, मैं सबसे जवान. But he is applying ashes कि भाई ये जो तुम्हारा skin and bones है ना, ये भी ashes बनने वाला है, याद रखो. This is all temporary. To remind us, I am not this body, because this body is going to become this ash. So better I use, and what is he doing? He's sitting in dhyan and he's doing bhajan of Krishna. So he's giving the spiritual culture and spiritual knowledge. And he's with the ghosts and hobgoblins. Why? Why? Because he wants to give even them the chance for purification. Right? There is no one who is materially, there may be certain barriers, but spiritually there are no constraints and barriers. Anyone and everyone can take to spiritual path. IIT jana hai to only few who crack, they like Vaishnavi, they can go. But हर कोई के लिए संभव नहीं है. लेकिन spiritual world हम सब जा सकते हैं. Vaishnavi, you can stay, no? You also want. So yes, spiritual world everyone can. And Lord Shiva is saying that even these ghosts, if they take association, I can take them also. Right? So he is representing spiritual culture and knowledge, and Daksha represents modern materialistic education. Or Raj, what is happening in the country today? This modern materialistic education is trying to somehow or the other defame and ostracize our ancient traditional wisdom and culture. That's what has been systematically programmed into all the academic institutions. If you have Ayurveda की बात करें तो Ayurveda, homeopathy, all of these branches of, they are called paramedics. And उनके ऊपर, उनकी दवाइयों के ऊपर, it's mandatory for them to write this medicine is not meant to cure any disease. That's what they are supposed to say. Right? Because pharma lobby is there behind it that no, this is not a science. This is not a science because it's not approved by us. And so you have to print that this is not meant to cure any disease. And so with respect to this or with respect to you know the Viman Shastras, uska jo hai. So they had they in some conference someone presented a paper like this. It was made so much fun of and usko itna ye kiya कि you can't talk about science. You ancient backward people, you can't talk about science. So you are no better than snake charmers. That's what is the image which our Indian, so-called educated people have created for ourselves. That we are backward. We are, our ancient. They were just having some caste system and snake charmers, nothing more than that. So somehow or the other, there is a क्या बोलते हैं इसको apartheid between science and spirituality. Apartheid वो होता था ना ब्लैक और व्हाइट का होता है जो भी discrimination. So South Africa में अमेरिका में कि blacks cannot go into the same schools, blacks cannot go into the same restaurants. So similarly, spirituality, you cannot come on the forum of science. You are, you can't, whatever you speak, it's not scientific. Spirituality is not a science, it's mythology. So that's what the mindset of Daksha is, to defame. Whereas Lord Shiva is quietly listening so far. What happens next, we will see in our next class. Yes, Shri Gati Bro. कैसा? बढ़िया बढ़िया ना? अरे कितना बज गया? जल्दी से जाके एक बार किचन में देख लोगे तो समझ पाए. 9 लोगों का बोला है. Yes, bro.
So like the way you described the modern education, the question is it necessary to have modern education then?
Let's not go to the other extreme. Modern education has its the way I said that, yeah, rather than simply criticizing, you work on creating an alternative. So if we have not created an alternative, what will just mere criticism do? Let's use our energies to create an alternative. And then people, when they see the merit of the alternative, will automatically go for it. So modern education for making a livelihood is, to some extent, it is being effective. It is being effective to some extent. The employment rate is showing that it is just effective for a section of people who fit into a certain mold. For the rest, it's just a waste of time and money.
So we need to find a substitute.
We need to create a substitute. We need to show to the society a substitute that education is, the word education, it comes from educare. Educare means to bring out what is hidden within, not to impose something from outside. God has already given some talent to each and every individual. It takes a lot of intuition and patience to uncover. Thank you, bro. You have come with a ray of.
No, there's some more.
Bucket support. Yeah, so it takes a lot of effort, right, to work on each individual कि इसके अंदर क्या talent छुपा है. राहुल के अंदर क्या टैलेंट है, तनय के अंदर क्या टैलेंट है, हर एक के ऊपर काम करना पड़ेगा. बट इट्स इजी ना, चलो राहुल को डालो आईटी में डाल दो, इसको भी आईटी में डाल दो, चलो इसको भी आईटी में डाल दो, 5 बॉक्स बना दिए, सबको उसमें कैसे ना कैसे करके घुसा दो, right? That is easier. But the traditional system was whatever talent each individual has, to identify that in Gurukul and then to span that spark. So that is what real education is.
At least the criticism, what anyone is doing, वो awareness to create करेगा at least, and that awareness eventually create an alternative, or it will at least improve what is wrong in the system. For example, of food power example, when he started criticizing, or the bad things which were there in the food products got improved, and people are aware now, they will at least start searching for some alternative of the things.
True. Means I'm not denying that there's no need for that. Yes, you definitely have to call a spade and put things out in people's eyes, vision. But how you do it also matters. How you do it, if, as I said, it should be done not just in a condescending and cutting way. It should be done just, okay, these are the facts, and you choose for yourself. And also work more on creating an alternative, a substitute for people.
Because everyone can't create an alternative. At least a person who is creating an awareness, that's also sufficient. Eventually, alternatives will be created. And if you like feel कि मैं alternative create नहीं कर सकता, तो मैं criticize भी ना करूँ, it will create some lack of it. It will keep power unchecked.
ठीक है, तो if you are so interested in helping people, I think you can do something more than just using your mouth to criticize.
Like
Use your hands.
Hands?
Do something about it. Yeah. Go a mile further, right? That's what will this mere criticism do, because if you are not giving any alternative to people, it's violence. Right? Don't send your children to school. Don't send your children to school. Acha, haan. So now they are afraid. You have shown to on their face that this is what your children are going to get harmed if they go to school. But then आपने कोई alternative तो दिया नहीं. ठीक है, तो वो स्कूल भी अभी भेजेंगे भी क्योंकि और कोई alternative नहीं है, and they will live in fear also. मेरे बेटे का ये हो रहा है. So it's violence. So work on both. If you are taking the responsibility to create awareness, also take the responsibility to create alternative.
Dhruva also writes in the fourth canto, I think, when Shuruchi chastised Dhruva and he went to Suniti. So Suniti didn't do like kind of exaggerate what Shuruchi did. She focused on the essence, providing a solution. So Karan Darshan Prabhu said, don't be a nonsense hater, be an essence seeker.
Don't be a nonsense
Hater.
Be an essence seeker. Yeah, so I completely agree that there is value to kind of creating awareness, but at the same time, how it is done, that also matters, and then what you do to create an alternative, that also matters. There's a nice comment which Sally has posted. Recently, the incident where Sadhguru is admitted and underwent surgery, and people are making fun on social media that, look, he has to take help from science because his spirituality doesn't help him in curing his condition. So this is how Daksha mentality works. Somehow or other defame spirituality.
That's like a spice of life.
Any other examples which you remember where the Daksha mentality of modern academics?
Actually, I think Jatari Chandraguru writes in the war of egos, the winner is the bigger loser.
Hmm.
So that applies to this scenario. I think.
Yeah, the winner is a bigger loser because when you lose your soul, the ego wins, but the soul loses.
Hmm.
So I think we can conclude. There's one question again, Sally. How can we explain such people about relationship between science and spirituality? So yeah, Swam Bhagwan Keshav Maharaj says science makes things better, spirituality makes people better.
Hmm.
So we are not denying science. We are talking of integrating science with spirituality. Prabhupada also would say that science is like a blind man, spirituality is like a lame man. So blind man doesn't have direction,
Hmm.
can't see where to go. Lame man has direction, it knows where one needs to go. It has vision, but it doesn't have the medium.
Hmm.
It needs someone to carry that. Science should become the medium to carry spirituality.
Hmm.
Right? But if the blind man says कि भाई मैं ही लेके जाऊंगा,
Hmm.
so it becomes difficult. So science and spirituality are supposed to work together. Does it make sense?
One question, like how can Daksha wasn't able to understand the position of Shiva?
Because Lord Shiva is like the sun, but even the sun can be covered by a 1 rupee coin.
Hmm.
You know how?
I could also say.
As a-
By putting it next to your eyes. So Daksha's ego is like the 1 rupee coin. उसको इधर लगा दिया. You can't see the sun. Everyone can realize the glory of Lord Shiva except Daksha. क्या क्रिश शांत बैठे हो? राहुल आपकी भी आवाज सुनी नहीं. Okay, so we will adjourn the meeting. In the next class, we will see what happens. Finally, actually, Daksha curses Lord Shiva. He takes the water of जो आचमन पात्र से पानी लेते हैं, and he spells a curse that from now onwards, the devatas, the yajnas which are done, each devata has a share, has an oblation in that yajna. आप देखेंगे उसमें तो हर एक देवता का एक वो रहता है, कलश रहता है. सो अभी शिव जी का नहीं रहेगा शेयर. Lord Shiva won't be given any share in the oblations of the sacrifice. So that's what he does, and everyone is shouting, no, Daksha, don't do it, please don't do it. But he doesn't listen to anyone and curses and walks out of the assembly. So जो purpose जिसके लिए सबको इकट्ठा किया था, सब high voltage drama करके everything is dissolved. Okay.
फिर वो गण शिव जी के किसी का दांत तोड़ते हैं, किसी का
हाँ वो आगे आएगा फाइटिंग. तब देखो अभी
बहुत फनी लगता है. किसी का दांत टूटा,
दांत टूट गए क्या होता है. हाँ बहुत कुछ होता है, लड़ाई होगी, अभी आएगा फाइटिंग सीन सब है भागवतम में सब. You will not miss out any Bollywood movies.
वो है ना कलेक्शन ऑफ एवरीथिंग पावर.
Yeah.
सब बताते हैं. सब धर्म संग्राम.
We are discussing this, ना? Yeah. Vede Purane Kavya cha. That the Vedas, Prabhu Mitra Priya vacha. The Vedas, they instruct a person like a master. Just, this is the instruction. Do this, don't do this. Puran, they speak like the friend. Who's very, congenial and friendly, informal. And the Kavyas, they speak like a lover, very intimately. So Bhagavatam sometimes speaks like a friend, sometimes lover, sometimes master. All. Chalo, let's conclude and let's have prasad. And those online can just chant Mahaprasad in Mandir.
And have at their home.
Thank you so much for joining, everyone. Hare Krishna. Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Granth Sahib Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.